Hello there and welcome to another Classic Golf Clubs episode. As usual, I'll be looking at a set of golf clubs and then trying to use them on the course. In between that, I'll be looking at the early history of Slazenger's golf division and how it developed. For those that don't want to watch everything, here are the time checks for the various points in the video. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so, and I hope you enjoy the video. We'll begin with the irons again today, and this is one of my favourite sets to play. Slazenger again, as you can probably tell. Slazenger are one of my favourite manufacturers, and these are Slazenger Gary Player claret jug, as I call them. As far as I can tell, these were introduced in 1962, at least that's the earliest advert I've found for them. It must be after Gary's first Open win, which was in 1959, so somewhere between 59 and 62, but as I say, 62 is the first date I've found. This is a full set from 2 iron to sand wedge. I've got here the 4, 6, 8 wedge and sand iron, and in the hand here I've got the 2 iron, and we'll have a look at the 2 iron. As you can see, it's a bit like the Wilson Dynapower range in that it's got a bar across the back there with Slazenger stamped on it. Nice big 2 on the bottom, you're not going to mistake which club you've got there. Fairly thin sole, frosted face, very nice ferrules on these, and we've got a bit of knurling on there. We've got the serial number, which isn't an actual serial number for the club, just tells you more what the shaft is, etc. We've got Gary Player's signature and a nice picture of the claret jug there. I can get that round. So there we've got the claret jug. So very nice club, and as I say, we've got 2 through 2 sand iron on these. There is a slight change as we go through the irons. So we can see here the 2, the 4 and the 6 are pretty much the same style. From the 7 down to the 9 we lose this groove here, and we have a solid piece there, and then the wedge and the sand iron are different again. Have a look at the shaft on these. I did show a different well, this club, but not this actual club, and the shaft band was a little worn away on that one, but we can see on this one that it is the same shaft, and we can see, if I can turn it round correctly, there we are, this one has still got the R on it, so it is a regular flex shaft. Gary Player's signature on there. I've re-gripped these, the grips were very tired and a mix of different grips, so they'd been re-gripped at some time. This is just a cheap probably £1 or £2 a club grip, but it does the job. They're not going to get a huge amount of play, so it doesn't need to be a particularly resilient grip. So there are the irons, as I say, one of my favourite sets, and I'm very much looking forward to getting these out on the course. Here are the woods. I'm going to be showing 6 woods in this video, which is a bit unusual, but the 3 I've got here I won't actually be playing because they need a bit of restoration before I'm happy to take them out on the course. But these are the matching woods to the irons. I was lucky enough to get these as well as the irons. They just need a little bit of varnishing and cleaning up before I take them out on the course. So we'll have a look at these, and then I'll tell you which clubs, which woods I'll actually be playing on the course. So starting with the woods, then we've got a 1, 2, 3 here. Gary Player signature on the top again. Nice black, red, black insert. 4 screws. It's a persimmon club. It's obvious. Hopefully by now you'll be able to recognise the difference between persimmon and laminated, so I won't go through that again. Aluminium sole plate. We've got a claret jug on the bottom there, and we can see Slazenger Gary Player, made in England. So these would have come from Slazenger's Horbury factory, I think. Black paint finish, nice bit of whipping on there. Probably okay. I might redo that when I come to restore the clubs. And there we've got the same shaft band, true temper, regular flex with the Gary Player signature. The grips on these are I don't know whether these would be the original grips or not. They're a Slazenger Ben Hogan grip. Slazenger had an agreement with Ben Hogan at this time to manufacture Ben Hogan clubs, and they had a range of components to go with them. And if I can bring the end cap round here so we can focus on that. Try and get that in focus. I don't know whether you can read that or not, but it's a Slazenger Ben Hogan, or Slazenger Hogan Golf Pride, and then we've got a patent number. But as you can see, they're very hard. I'd like to retain them, but they won't be very good for play. So one thing I've been thinking about doing recently is to use a tennis overwrap just around the grip, so that they will have some grip on the course, but I'll be able to retain the original grips, if these are the original grips, as I say. So just having a look at this, the insert, it feels fairly tight, but it could really do with being re-glued into place just to make sure that it's okay to hit balls with. So that's the 1 wood. There's the 2 wood, same colour and everything. Now the 3 wood is slightly different in that it's a brown finish, so whether this one was acquired later, I don't know, but it's got the same serial number, the same claret jug. Slazenger Gary Player, made in England. This one, it's like they were all the same paint finish at one time. So we've got red for Slazenger, made in England, and black for the Gary Player, and red for the number by the looks of it. On the crown again, we've got Gary Player, and it's the same same insert, just a different colour really. So they're the woods that make up the set. But as I say, I won't be playing these on the day because they just need a little bit of TLC before they're ready to play on the course. So let me just bring in the 3 woods that I will be playing. So here are the 3 woods I'll be taking on the course, and you'll be pleased to know that we've looked at these in previous videos, so I'm not going to spend very long talking about them at all. We've got a restored Dunlop Peter Thomson, and I'm pretty sure this was the Contour Sole model. And we've got 2 Uniroyal Arnold Palmer laminated clubs. Really nice clubs to play. As I say, I don't think there's a lot of difference when you're playing the clubs between laminated and persimmon, although there's no doubt that a persimmon club is a more attractive club to look at from an aesthetics point of view. So that's the woods. If you want to see more about them, dig back into the previous videos and you should come across those. And that brings us, last but definitely not least, to the putter. And this is probably one of my favourite putters that I've got. It's an unusual looking putter. Let me turn it the other way around so we can read the script on there. It's a A.G. Spalding Brothers hand forged gold medal W model, and the anvil there tells us that it was made in the Spalding Dysart factory in Scotland. So it's a British club. I think there were a few other clubs like this. So whether it's Spalding's own design or whether it's a copy of a club that they acquired when they bought, I think they bought the Stuart Forge, I'm not sure exactly when. Let's have a look at the club in a bit more detail anyway. So as we can see, it's a very long face, slight bit of offset there, but what I like about it is it's very easy to square the head to the line. So if I put a ball down there, we can see it's quite a low head, but it doesn't. You're not going to hit the ball below the equator, so you're always going to hit it so that it's not going to jump into the air. The face is, I'm not sure whether it's got a bit of a lead or something on there, but it's a slightly different colour, different feel to the rest of it. Obviously it's got the punch marks on there. Pinned head, as we can see. Nice long ferrule there, quite a long hosel as well, and the shaft, I don't know whether this was painted. I think it's a painted shaft. It's definitely never been chromed. Looking at it closely, it's not going rusty or anything, still in good condition, and the grip, it's quite a long grip. I'll just try and measure that. That's 9. It's about a 14-inch grip, which was quite common at that time. We've got a wooden plug in the end there, which was again a common thing, so that they could put a nail into the leather and hold the leather wrap in place. Got a little bit of whip in there, so it's got the grip itself is very similar to the way a grip would have been put onto a hickory club. And this club, I think, does date from the 1930s. I have got a hickory shafted model of this as well, which is ever so slightly longer in the head, and I use that one when I play hickory golf. But this is one of my favourites for vintage stroke classic golf. Now would be an excellent time to look at the history of Slazengers, in particular the golf side. Founded by brothers Ralph and Albert Slazenger in 1888, they set up in London, initially producing rubber sporting goods, and soon became known for the quality of their tennis equipment. This success saw them expand across the world. In 1931, they acquired the company Gradidge, who manufactured cricket equipment. This advert from 1924 refers only to cricket. But if we look at this advert from 1936, also in the Cricketer magazine, we can see that they now include golf. So manufacture of golfing equipment had obviously started by this time. Two more significant milestones occurred in the 1940s. Slazenger also acquired William Sykes, cricket equipment manufacturers whose bats were used by Don Bradman throughout his career. They also acquired F.H. Ayre, who were established in the first quarter of the 19th century and began selling golf equipment in the 1880s. William Sykes had acquired a factory in Horbury, West Yorkshire, formerly known as Albion Mills, in 1935, and as we'll see, this plays a very big part in the future story of Slazengers. During the Blitz of World War II, the buildings of Slazenger and Gradidge were hit by incendiary bombs, and after the war, production focused on the Horbury factory in West Yorkshire. Here we have a picture of some of the staff from the 1950s. In 1934, Jimmy Ross joined Gradidge's to launch a golf division. He later went on to become golf manager of Slazenger and designed golf clubs for them, particularly their irons. As far as I can tell, this was the first venture into golf equipment for either Slazenger or Gradidge in the UK, although I have seen what appear to be earlier clubs marked Slazenger that were produced in America. But coming back to golf clubs, this picture shows what I believe are early models by Gradidge, and I think based on the fact that the factory was hit during the Blitz, any club stamped London is likely to be a pre-war model. Another significant milestone in the company's growth occurred in 1938, when, after winning the 1938 Irish Open aged 18, Bobby Locke was offered a contract by Slazenger to tour Australia and New Zealand. This 1950 advert from a Swedish golf magazine clearly shows Bobby Locke clubs being sold under the Gradidge name. And in this 1954 advert from the same magazine, we can clearly see the Slazenger name taking centre stage. Roughly translating key lines, Slazenger, England's leading sports and golf manufacturer, presents 1954 Gradidge golf clubs equipped with rocket shafts, Bobby Locke Triple Crown, Pinehurst, a new American-style wooden club named after the well-known Pinehurst golf course in America. But we can also see from this advert from 1954 that appeared in Golf Monthly that the name Slazenger was beginning to replace the name Gradidge on the golf clubs. Coming back to Bobby Locke, it appears to me that the first clubs with his name on were restampings of existing designs. We can see here 4 similar clubs, and the bottom right one has Bobby Locke stamped on it. As things started to recover, however, new designs started to appear. We can see here the Bobby Locke Triple Crown previously mentioned. And here, from the 1956-57 catalogue for the Professional Golfers Cooperative Association, the Bobby Locke Personal Model, together with the Gene Donald version. And here we can see another Slazenger Bobby Locke club. So the Gradidge name, by this stage, was clearly at its end. As final proof of that, from the same 1956-57 catalogue, we can see here the Slazenger Tournament Model, a clear copy of the earlier Gradidge Tournament Model. In 1957, Slazenger began a partnership with Ben Hogan to produce clubs in the UK, but we'll cover that in a separate video. I think we're about at the end of the early days of Slazenger now. In 1959, Ralph Slazenger Jr. sold the family business to Dunlop Rubber and a whole new chapter began. Right, well I think it's time to get out on the golf course and see if I can actually hit these clubs. As usual, here are the lofts for the clubs. The irons are the closest set I have to my perfect lofts, with just the 6 iron being 1 degree out from my ideal 36 degrees. So here we are for another on-course video, this time with the Slazenger Gary Player irons and the Spalding W Model, as well as the woods I showed earlier. The course is playing pretty tough at the moment because the rough is very deep. Apparently there's a bit of a problem with the mowers that cut the rough, and it's got the rough's got very high, so I'm going to be playing as straight as I can, probably hitting a few irons off the tee. I played the clubs in this video yesterday, so I'm already off to a good start because I had a knockout match yesterday and I'm pleased to say that I won that 3-2, so let's see if I can keep the good play going. I'm playing 5 holes today. Here's the first, where I'm hitting a 2 iron and try and steer it a little bit too much and end up pushing it into the light rough on the right. I'm just under 200 yards away and I'm very pleased with the result of the 4 iron that just goes over the back of the green. Leaving myself a very long putt for the first attempt with the Spalding W Model. I spend too long focusing on the line and don't remember to hit the putt, so I leave it short. On to the next, where for some reason I feel an 8 iron is enough rather than my usual 7 iron. Seven was the club. Recently my chipping has been a little bit improved, but as soon as I got over this one I just thought negative thoughts, and there's the result. But it did give me a chance to exhibit the sand iron and see if I could reproduce some of Gary Player's flair. I did get the ball out, but not close enough for a tap-in, not quite Gary's league. That 4 iron down breeze went 190. It's left me 140 to the front. Down breeze again, so I'm going to hit the 8 iron. I don't want to go long. Ooh, a shank. That 8 iron's not working for me today. No use looking at the club. I do manage to chop this one onto the green, which I was quite relieved about. First putt was pretty good, and I felt confident standing over this one. Whether it would have gone in without the flag, who can say? But I'm sure it would have done. This was one of my better shots with the driver. Well, I'm pretty pleased with that one. Into the wind, back into the wind, uphill slightly and in the rough, and it's gone 205 yards, so very happy with that. I've got 260 left, hitting a 5-iron. A bit of a sigh this swing, but it got in the air and it made reasonable distance, so I'll take that. Even more of a sigh this swing, but again it got in the air and it got close to the green. Left me a little chip and run, which didn't look pretty, but the result was pretty good for me. Just missing, but a fairly straightforward tap in for the bogey. Last hole, and I'm hitting 2-iron again to try and keep out of the rough. A massive pull hook, luckily clears all of the rough and goes on to the next fairway. 175 to the front, it all runs down to the green, and then hit 6-iron. Another ugly looking swing, but the result wasn't too bad. I know I'll regret this. So annoying. Well, what can I say? After that, for me, remarkable little pitch shot, I was left with this 12-footer. Just run it a little bit by, so a little bit of a knee knocker from the last putt, but in it goes. So let's have a look at the statistics for the 5 holes. I scored 3 bogeys and 2 double bogeys, although I felt I did play better than the score suggests. I only hit 1 fairway and 1 green in regulation, and I had a pretty poor 12 putts, so I'm going to stop bigging up the putters before the round. And I also had 1 shank. Well, that concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time.